Hi Booktube, it's Gina. It is October 1st and I thought I'd do a TBR. It's been a long time since I've done a TBR and it's been a long time since I've participated in any Booktube events. This year has been kind of a wash for me and I haven't really done TBRs or participated in events at all, and I can't let October this year come and go without participating in Victober. So I'm gonna do a little TBR here. It's pretty small, and I am gonna participate in Victober because it's such a fun event. If you're not familiar with it, we've got a lot of new people here. Victober is an event that was created by Katie Lumsden at Books and Things. I will link her channel down below. And it is an event where we read Victorian literature for the month, and it's so much fun. They usually do a group read and have some challenges. I'm probably not going to do any of the challenges, but I am going to do the group read, which will let's just start off the TBR with that, because that is one of the things that I do want to read this year, which is Hester by Mrs. Margaret Oliphant. And I don't really know anything about this book. I have read a couple of Margaret Oliphant's books before and really enjoyed them. So I am going to, I say I am going to read. Let's just say, as with all of my TBRs, they are maybe more of a pile of possibilities, because I don't feel guilty if I don't get to anything that I've wanted to get to or say that I'm going to try and get to. There is actually one book on here that I'm going to ask you guys to hold me to reading next month, because it's one that I've really wanted to read for a long time. We'll talk about that one next. But first, Hester by Margaret Oliphant. That one I got on my Kindle. My library didn't have a copy of it on Kindle, so I did go ahead and buy this one for 99 cents, which is fine. I probably could have got it off Project Gutenberg, but I don't mind getting it on my Kindle, and it's so much easier. Has anybody else struggled with Project Gutenberg stuff? I have never successfully figured out how to download something from there onto my Kindle. I don't know. I'm not that good with that kind of stuff, apparently. So I did buy Hester on my Kindle. That is the first book that I want to read. The second book that I want to read, that I have had on my want to read list for ages, is Villette by Charlotte Bronte. And I've got this beautiful pink Everyman edition. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Now, this is the one. I think I probably put this on my Victober TBR every year for the last 5 years. Maybe not. I'm probably exaggerating a little bit. But I really want to read this book. I've wanted to read it forever. I own this beautiful little edition. I'm probably not going to read this edition since this font is just way too tiny for my old lady eyes. And I do have this one on my Kindle. I've had it on my Kindle for ages. I don't know if I bought it or I don't remember where I got it. It might have been a freebie. But if I do my October wrap up and I have not read this book, I hope you guys will remind me that I am a big old loser that said they were going to read this book this year and didn't, because this is one that I do really, really want to get to. All right, so Villette is number 2. Next, I mentioned this book a few times recently in my spooky books, and I thought this would be a really fun one to reread. The Little Stranger by Sarah Waters. I remember loving this book, but I have not read it in many years. And I have been on a bit of a rereading binge this last month, which I'll talk about in my next video. And I want to reread this, The Little Stranger by Sarah Waters. It is a haunted house, ghost story. We don't really know what's happening, but something creepy is happening. This, I think, is gosh, this is not a Victorian. She's got a lot of Victorian historical fiction. This one is not Victorian, which would have been perfect for Victober. This is, I think, it's post-war. So I do have this on my Kindle. I actually reserved it at the library on my Kindle, so I have the hardcover, but I'm probably going to read this one on my Kindle because that is what I really enjoy doing. Okay, so I may also read a Trollope or a Hardy. I haven't pulled anything out, so I've got that on my little list here. That I want to read, a Trollope or a Hardy. I don't know, we'll see. I have a copy of the Eustace Diamonds that I've been wanting to get to. I've got a whole bunch of Trollope on my Kindle, so one of those may pop up, but I don't know. They're prioritized at the bottom of the list. And sorry, I've got a cat here. Story of my life. And two more. The first is a middle grade spooky book called In Darkling Wood by Emma Carroll. I don't know anything about this book, but I have a friend, Gina, coming to visit me at the end of the month. She'll be here for Halloween. And so we thought it would be fun to do a buddy read of something while she's here, and a sweet but spooky middle grade book is the perfect read for us. So my library does have this one on Kindle. I'm going to get that on my Kindle and read that with my friend Gina when she comes to visit. So I don't know anything about it. She suggested it, and it had a pretty cover, and my library had it. And so we've decided we're going to buddy read that at the end of the month. So that'll be at the very end of the month when I pick up that. And then lastly, okay, I was just watching a video today on my lunch hour by Lidiya Foxglove, who has a fun YouTube channel called The Cozy Creative. She's an author and a booktuber, and I love her channel. She's so real and just interesting to watch. I have no desire to be an author or write, but I love hearing her talk about her writing process. And she lives in one of the towns that was devastated by the hurricane a couple years ago. And so those videos were super interesting. She used to work at the bookstore in town, which was completely destroyed. I mean, it was devastating. But she recently just put out a indie published book called, I think it released today, called Wanted, Brooding Man, Tragic Past. And she describes it as a cozy gothic fantasy, which sounded really interesting and probably not my typical genre, but cozy. She did say it was cozy. And I thought it would be really fun to support her channel, to support her, since I've been watching her videos for a long time and I really enjoy them. And so I bought that on Kindle, and it was on sale for, I think, $4.99. So it's super inexpensive. Looks like it's not super long, and it just sounds like a really fun book. So I bought that. I will link it down below. I'll include the link to that. She's got a link on her video, which I will also link, which will take you to a place where you can buy it in a few different spots if you're not an Amazon fan. But it sounded like a perfect fall cozy fantasy book. So romance, it's a fantasy romance. All right, so that is my fairly short list of books that I want to read for October/Victober. Are you going to be participating in any October events? Are you going to be reading any Victorian literature? I would love to hear what you're reading, and yeah, just how things are going. Okay, I will see you in the next one. Bye.